Delville Wood became a tomb. South African soldiers fought through fire, steel, and shattered trees in a desperate battle for survival. It's little wonder it became known as Devil's Wood. The Battle of Delville Wood symbolizes not just the brutality of war, but the remarkable courage of those sent to fight it. Outnumbered, attacked on three sides, and practically decimated, these men did not retreat. They did not surrender. They simply stood. The Battle of Delville Wood began on July the 14th with Allied forces led by British-born Brigadier General Henry Lucan, who'd go on to become one of the most decorated South African commanders in history.
All right, a key question, John, at this time, where were the Germans? Well, let's turn our attention to the board. The German front line stretched from the southern edge of Bazentin-le-Grand across Longueval and then curved southeast past Waterlot Farm and Guillemont.
Longueval was defended by the Germans with trenches, bunkers, and 2 field guns. The area around Delville Wood, about 1.3 square kilometers, was held by several German infantry regiments. A British attack would need to move uphill from nearby woods before crossing open terrain and surrounding the enemy positions outside Longueval.
All right, John, let's look at timelines now. The Germans suspected an attack would begin on the 13th or the 14th of July, so they were well prepared. On the morning of July the 14th, just before 3:30, the British forces launched a careful pre-planned attack to penetrate the German second line.
And for a short time, the plan actually worked. A 5-minute bombardment caught the Germans off guard, allowing British troops to advance quickly across no man's land, and that's the area between the opposing front lines. It's once they got to the far side of no man's land that the problems start.
So the British cross no man's land and the Germans fall back. Let's take a look at what happens next. The South Africans made their move the following evening, just after midnight. Under the cover of darkness, part of the 9th Division formed up, and the attack was launched when the artillery stopped its bombardment at around 25 minutes past 3 in the morning.
That night, 3 parties were sent out to capture enemy posts, which were hindering the advance. But they were held up by a big nest of machine guns north of the village.
Now, Lucan wanted to delay the next phase of the attack, but later that evening, he received orders that he must attack on the morning of the 15th, whether the village was secured or not. So a big change of plan, and he must have known that he was exposing his men on 3 sides. Now, the men marching up to the wood were not very fresh either. By the time they got to Longueval, they were predictably exhausted. Now, can you imagine the scene of the wounded struggling back to the rear, being passed on the way by fresh troops making their way to the front, even as they're heading to the assembly point? Tear gas shells are raining down from above. The goggles don't work, and they are under orders not to rub their eyes. By the time they reach their assembly point, they can hardly see.